What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Coach Black, your internet relationship and breakup coach. Today's topic: communication tactics that make your ex chase you. Okay, so if you're watching this video, hopefully you understand the fundamentals. Okay, you should be in no contact if you got dumped. I'm going to touch a little bit on why in a second, why you have to do this, why it's very important, but we're also going to focus on how to communicate with your ex, especially after a breakup, how to do things that make them want you, so you don't have to do all the work, because that's the way it should be. If they took you for granted once, they'll take you for granted again if you allow them to do so. So, without further ado, let's just jump into it. Let me start with this. Before I started working as a coach, okay, helping people with their relationship and breakup issues, I actually used to work in sales. Okay, I used to work in technical sales, or technology sales for better words. And basically what I would do is sell software to companies, okay, to help them optimize their business processes. Okay, we're not going to go too much into detail about this, but I worked in sales in the tech industry. And one of the most interesting thing about the sale process that you learn very quickly is the dynamics of human nature. And this is very important. It's a fundamental part of selling that you have to get. And what I figured out as I was doing that is that dating and relationships are very similar in certain ways to the sales process. And I'm going to explain to you why, okay? So you can learn how the best salespeople are successful. And these are the 1%. In a lot of ways, some sales people are making hundreds, multiple hundreds of thousands, like the really, really good ones. And I'm going to teach you some of their best principles, which again is fundamentally about understanding human nature. So stick around and hopefully you can use this to your advantage. Okay. So the first thing you have to understand about the sales process is that you make money or you make sales by solving people's problems, okay? So it's always about the other person, okay? You go solve their problem, they give you money, and you earn a commission, okay? That's the fundamentals of selling. So selling isn't this evil thing, right? Because you're helping people. Now, there's obviously some bad salespeople who try to sell you things that you don't need or things that are defective. But in an ideal scenario, okay, you're helping people solve a problem, or you're giving them a product that's going to help them solve a problem. The thing is, fundamentally, human beings do not like to be sold. We don't like people influencing us, but it happens every single day, okay? An ideal scenario is that you want to make decisions on your own and you want to buy products and services that you want, okay? So the last time you were extremely hungry, maybe you were craving a certain type of food, it didn't feel like a sale happened. Or maybe you wanted the newest iPhone, okay, because you heard about all the features. It didn't feel like, there was a salesman selling you because you made a choice, okay? So understand that people do not like to be sold. And so the moment you get into an interaction with your ex, it's the same way, because their guard is going to be up, okay? What you learn is you have to learn how to lower people's guards down and make them not as defensive about you or when they're communicating with you. And that way you can have a more productive conversation. So let me explain like this. When we were dealing with different prospects or potential customers, we would lump them into different categories, okay? The first category is called an outbound customer or an outbound lead. And what an outbound lead was simply a customer that we had to proactively reach out to, meaning they were going about their business, they were living their life, they were doing their own thing, and someone from the office picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Mr. So-and-so, have you heard about this? Have you ever heard about so-and-so company?" right? And what you learn about the outbound type customers, it's usually the least likely to turn up into a future customer. It does happen, but it's usually the least likely, because as soon as that person on the other side of the phone hears you say, I'm with so-and-so company, again, their guard goes up, because people do not like to be sold. Think about yourself. Think about all the calls that you've gotten from people trying to sell you something or get you to do something that you don't want to do. Your guard goes up. You don't want to give them any answers. You don't want to help them further the conversation so it can potentially go to where they want to go. You usually try to eject. You're busy. You try to get off the phone. Now, the second category, and let me add this, okay, when you think about the context of a relationship, your ex is even less than a cold call, right? It's less than an outbound call, because your ex is technically a previous customer that's tried the product and it's saying, I don't want this anymore. This is why it's very unproductive for you to be calling them, trying to sell them the same product. Their guard is up, their defenses are up, and you're not going to have a productive conversation. It's not going to work. Okay. Now, category 2 is what's called an inbound lead. And this is more of a warm lead. This is someone who probably heard about the company, heard about the product, or maybe has bought a different product from the same company before. And so they proactively reached out. This is a warm customer. They already have expressed some interest. Now, the thing with this, every warm customer is not going to buy, but you're already in a good position because they're expressing interest. And a lot of times you just kind of have to walk them through the process and kind of make things easier for them to do business with you. This is what happens when your ex is the one that calls you. That is a warm lead. They're already expressing interest. Now, if you combine those two things, a warm lead, right, someone who's already expressing interest, with the knowledge that I must not be selling, all right, I must not be forcing, then you tend to have a more successful interaction. Now, what does that look like? A lot of people will talk about attraction and how indifference is so powerful. It's the same thing in the sales process, and it's the same thing with your ex. When you give off the energy that this deal has to happen, it naturally is repulsive. It pushes people away because it feels like you only have your interest at heart. This is why when you're talking to your ex, and you're selling yourself, you're talking about how I've done this and I've worked on myself and I've changed, and you're so desperate for the deal to happen, you end up pushing your ex away because you're too easy. So communication with your ex after a breakup must look like you're also evaluating them. Is this a good deal for both parties? And more so, is it a good deal for you? Because naturally, your ex is expecting you to look out for your best interest. That is how an interaction like this should be going. You should be asking questions. What have they been doing? How have they been working on themselves? Now, you should be having fun as well, but you must master the art of not selling, and that will lead you to a more successful interaction with your ex. That's how you should be communicating. And when you do this, it's very seductive. The person is drawn into you because they're thinking, what do they have? What's changed? Why aren't they so desperate for this deal to happen? Why don't they want me back? Right? Now they have more interest. Okay, and you're combining the very, very vital recipes together, and it's a very powerful concoction. Okay, first of all, you stayed in no contact. You allowed your ex the time and space, and their own memory, their own desire is what triggered them to reach out to you. Again, just think about it like the sales process. When you are reaching out proactively, when your ex has no interest, you're wasting your time. Their guard is going to be up. And actually, the more you do, the more you try to show them, the more gifts that you try to buy for them to convince them, the more you're going to push them away. I can guarantee it. See, I talk to people every day that are buying gifts, okay? Women that are trying to sleep with their ex to get them back. You end up getting taken advantage of, okay? You must have high standards as well, and you let them come to you. And that way it feels more natural. Their guard will come down, and then they open up to receive you. And that's what you want anyway, okay? So it's really as simple as that. And I hope this video gives you the clarity to know what you should be doing. But if you have any thoughts or comments, go ahead and drop them down in the comment section below. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, the quickest way to do so is to book a one-on-one coaching call. It's going to be the first link in description, and we can talk about your situation. And if you haven't already, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos like this. I appreciate you for watching, and thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.